Welcome to What the is Orff? Part 1, The Process and Sequence. I'm Jen from Noteworthy by Jen, and I'm excited to be here with you today and hope that you can learn a lot from this. Important amazingness you need to know. So we've gone through all of the media. We've gone through the actual process, the learning process that we use. Orff is a process. It is not a methodology. The emphasis will always be on learning and not the end product. So there are not Orff police that go around and enforce that you have to do things a specific way, which is why Orff works great for me because I can really adapt it to who I am as a person and to what my students need most. Creativity and discovery learning is essential to Orff schoolwork. Experience should always precede notation, which really goes in line pretty well with MLT and Kodai. You don't want to just throw a rest up there and then not have practiced something that has a rest in it ahead of time. So this is really important. If you're going to teach them about soul and me, you maybe should have sang 5 songs by then that had soul and me in it that you can pull from so that they actually have the musical vocabulary to be able to synthesize everything you're showing them. Canons are incorporated into all media, so you can do it with speech, you can do it with movement, all sorts of things. And I love doing instrumental canons because it really blows the kids' minds that you can do that. And also it's a great test of their ability to stay together, feeling that inner hearing of the beat. And so it's kind of a cool thing. And they're really proud of themselves when they do it. Inner hearing is a term used to describe the student's ability to internalize the music and be able to comprehend it without actually hearing it out loud. So this is comparable to audiation. It's not, which is from MLT. It's not just about being able to hear the music, but you have to be able to make sense of what you're hearing and be able to kind of hear some musical concepts within that to be able to describe what's going on. Orff is very compatible with other music philosophies such as music learning theory, Kodai, Dalcroze, and education through music. They are not competitors. They are supportive of each other, but there are different ideas, different philosophies, and different sequence. Kodai has a really specific sequence, and it has it really focuses heavily on folk songs and literacy, and music learning theory focuses a lot on hearing modes right away and giving students this very beginning musical vocabulary before it kind of delays notation longer than the other philosophies. So I feel like Orff is kind of in the middle a little bit, and you can apply stuff from both sides, and it's pretty cool. Also, Orff is meant to adapt as the world and culture changes. It is not meant for us to be stuck and use the same music over and over again. If you find something in pop culture that works or on YouTube that works, you can just add it right into your classroom. And also, if you find songs that all of a sudden you're like, whoa, the history of that song, not appropriate anymore, take it out. There's thousands of other songs to choose from. That will be great. Yes, primary source material is encouraged. So folk songs from your culture, children's rhymes, but teachers are also encouraged to create their own materials for students to study and become, or ones that students are familiar with culturally. Orff song choices should be related to the culture the children have experienced. So Orff is going to look different everywhere you are because every country and region you're in, it has a slightly different culture. And in addition, it is encouraged that we expose children to other cultures' music, but if I'm in Michigan, my primary source material should not all be from Taiwan because they don't have the same culture as I do. But a Taiwanese song would be awesome to include to show kids and broaden their view of what music is like in the world. Okay, let's talk sequence. Myth. Orff does not have a sequence. Teach what you want, when you want. Who cares if they get it? Not true. Fact. Orff teachers are encouraged to create their own lessons and compositions, along with primary source materials, but they are meant to teach objectives in a logical sequence. They simply are encouraged to teach it through song, movement, instruments, and play. And they're encouraged to know what the right sequence is for their own situation. So, next myth. Orff only teaches pentatonic scales. I don't think so. Exactly. Orff begins with pentatonic scales because it allows for early improvisation to be done without the half steps. It makes every note they choose is correct, and they can just focus on the rhythm. And then eventually it adds stuff in. Certified Orff teachers are also trained to teach functional harmony and modal music. So that's why it's really important that people don't just take Orff level 1 and then finish the whole way through Orff level 3 so that they make sure they get trained in the whole process. Rhythm. This is based on kind of what I teach, but again, you can teach what matters to you and in your own context. So I focus on beat, long and short, sound and silence when I'm in kindergarten. First grade, we do beat, ta, rest, and TT. Second grade, we do what TT looks like when it's separated. And then we do half notes and half rests. Third grade, we do whole notes, whole rests, dotted half note, ticka ticka. And by the way, you might use a different name for some of these. That's fine. There is no official terminology you have to use. If you want to use due days, you can use them. If you want to use something else you've come up with, you can use them as long as you're consistent. Fourth, we're going to have syncopa, triplet, and an eighth rest. In fifth grade, we have ticka-tee, ticka, and tom-tee. That's a general idea of what I teach. For meter, we experience all the meters right away. And then in first grade, I start having them play and read 4/4 and 2/4. In second grade, we continue with that, but now we're adding in some more rhythms, so it gets a little more complex. In third grade, you can play and read 3/4. In fourth grade, you're going to continue that, but then add more different rhythms they can do. In fifth grade is when I like to add in mixed meter because they can really feel it. They've had so much time doing 3/4 and 2/4 and 4/4 that all of a sudden you're like, okay, let's combine these together and see what happens. And they're like, whoa, this is cool. So, but they should have been experiencing these things all the way along. This is just when I finally am like, okay, you could probably read it and play it now. You could possibly put 6/8 reading in fifth grade. I don't, because I figure the kids that really want to go after music in band and beyond, they're going to be able to pick that up later on. And I think 6/8 just takes a little more critical thinking than 4/4 does, you know? And so I tend to just not do that and let the band and choir directors do that. If I taught through sixth grade, then I might consider it. For pitch, we do the resting tone in K, and that's why the bordoon, where you just play do and so over and over again, is great because it's like, hey, here's do, 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 do. How annoying is that? They can keep hearing it. Then first grade is so, mi, and la. Second grade, we had re and do, so that we end up with the pentatonic scale. Third grade, we had fa, so you have the hexatonic scale. And we add high do, we talk about major and minor. In fourth grade, you're going to add T, low la, so you can talk about Ionian and Aeolian. And fifth grade, you're going to jam with some of the other modes. And I think I talk a little bit more about the harmonic sequence in my next presentation. So if you want to do Orff training, level 1 is K through 6 instruction, and you're going to primarily be in the pentatonic scale, and you're going to be learning movement and soprano recorder. Level 2 expands a little bit beyond that, and you're going to use modes the whole time. You're going to be talking about modes, hexatonic stuff. You're going to be doing mixed meter, movement, and you'll also learn soprano and alto recorder. In level 3, which I haven't taken, but this is what I've heard, you're more like you could go the whole way through K-12. You're going to do functional harmony. You're going to do movement. You're going to learn all the recorders. Well, SATB, soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. There's more beyond that. And the emphasis is actually on teaching the teacher how to create elemental compositions that they can use in their own classroom. And then Orff curriculum and design is not required to be Orff certified. However, I really hope someday it is because it's an excellent class. And for those of you whose criticism of Orff is that they really don't have a set sequence, there really is a set sequence, and this one is amazing because you take this class, it's a 1-week class, and by the end of it, you walk out of there with like a week by week thing of what you're going to be teaching in every grade level. You have time to do that. And it's pretty amazing, and it's so deep thinking, and it's just well thought out, and the fact that you can adjust it to your own setting is amazing. All right, resources for your classroom. I'm going to try to get as many of these done. If they're in black, they're not done yet, but they might be by the time you see this. So the Tambourine Halloween, I will make sure I post that by the time this presents. And Baby Shark will be half off. The instrument labels, I'm going to make labels that you can put on your instrument, so if kids are looking at them, well, what am I playing? I don't know. It's there. Orff rule posters look like this. I love having them up to show kids what they should be doing when we're playing, and then they can't claim they didn't know because it's right there. My Orff book and presentation, you'll see more about that in the next one. There'll be instrument posters with what type of instruments, and you can hang those up all around your room, Bourdon, pentatonic posters. The Orff Basics bundle will have all of these things in there if you want to get it at a discounted rate. I do want to talk about treble clef note naming. So we do treble clef note naming. I start in 4th grade because that's when I teach recorder, and so I want them to be able to see what it looks like on a staff. I've always felt like every method of teaching that I've tried has just gone a little too fast, and those kids, there's always this group of kids that just don't understand. So I made a really step-by-step explanation this year, and we did it in Google Slides, and we have one-to-one technology, so they all brought their Chromebooks in, and they could go through it, and I assigned it in Google Classroom, so they all had their own copy, and it was like an interactive thing. And boy, did it make a huge difference on what they understood and how they retained it over time. And so it was really amazing. So if you're looking for a great treble clef resource just to walk, I mean, it's like you just walk, it like does the lesson for you basically. It's great. Desktop percussion, if you're looking for a fun activity on a random day, you don't even need desktop. I did it in my regular classroom and just had the kids bring 2 pencils and a book, and we played along to a pop song, and they had so much fun. Recorder rules, this is what those look like, and glue dancing, which we talked about. The cue cards are right here. My whole story is is 20% off, and so I hope if you're looking for resources that you can find something in there that would be helpful to you. Again, no pressure. Resources for learning more. Okay, so I'm going to grab a few books I have next to me so I can show you what some of them look like. AOSA.org is American Orff Schulwerk's website, and they have levels training information. They have workshops and chapters you can join if you just want to learn a little more. After you've been a member for 1 full year, you can apply for scholarships. That's actually how I've gotten my level 2 and my level 3 paid for. So you seriously want to consider that if you want to do your levels training. After level 1, they have a new virtual mentorship program to hook you up with someone who already is Orff trained, and you can kind of learn from them and bounce ideas off of them as you go through your school year after getting Orff Level 1. The AOSA National Conference is excellent. It's so fun to go to. Lesson ideas, they send out a regular newsletter that has lesson ideas. Okay. Exploring Orff. This and Discovering Orff both talk a lot about the sequence of Orff Schulwerk, and so if you're interested in more of that, you would want to get one of these 2 books. Game Plan Curriculum is the curriculum I use that's based on Orff Schulwerk, and then I just supplement my own ideas or stuff from workshops that I just think were amazing. So I don't just stick to one curriculum. I like to kind of use it as a guideline of where I'm going, but then I like to put my own stuff in there. The Elemental Composing book, part 1 is out right now. I don't think part 2 is out yet, but it will be. And if you're interested in composing songs in Orff Schulwerk and you want to see how to do it appropriately, because there is a right and a wrong way, this is the book you want. Elementaria, this is written by Gunhild Kateman, and she's just the brain behind a lot of Orff Schulwerk. And so if you really want to understand where it came from and what her underlying thought process was, this is a great book for you to read, and I learned a lot from reading it for this presentation. This is the book. This little tiny book is actually what I learned, what I quoted almost everything from that I had in this presentation, and this is called Orff Schulwerk, Brief History, Description, and Issues in Global Dispersal, and she did this as a research project, and it's just fascinating and very concise, which is why, you know, this is a lot less intimidating to read through this than this. So this is kind of a cool book to get. It's only like $10 on West Music. So I want to say a special thank you. Amy Fenton is someone who I've taught with and known for a long time in the Orff world, and she is so knowledgeable. She went through this whole resource or this whole presentation with me so that I could share it with you, and just a huge shout out for her to do that. It was very generous of her to take the time to do that. Mary Shamrock, I don't know you, but your book is amazing, and I just want to thank you for the time it took to write that, because it was just excellent reading even after taking 2 of my Orff levels. Brian Burnett helped answer some of my questions. He's just a brilliant mind. If you get a chance to take a workshop with him, please do it. And to my Orff levels instructors and my composition instructors, thank you for investing in the next generation teachers. I just think you're amazing that you spend time doing that and prep so much just so that the next group of teachers can learn about Orff Schulwerk. All the quotes were taken from the book, like we talked about. And here's where graphics and fonts were from that I used today. If you have any questions about Orff Schulwerk or any of the information I shared today, you can email me at noteworthybyjen@gmail.com. I try to get back to people within a couple days. I am a full-time working mom with 3 little girls at home, and so I don't always get back right away. But if you don't hear from me in a few days, feel free to email me again and see if I maybe just missed your email. So thank you so much for joining today. We're glad you were here, and I hope you got just a great overview of the process and the sequence, and that you can join me tomorrow and learn about the instruments, because those are so fun too. So have a great one.